Thanks for joining us. I'm Linda Cavanaugh with Maestro Joel Levine, talking about the upcoming concerts this season. Now, we have a very special guest making a return visit to the Philharmonic stage in November, and this young violinist is bringing an exciting piece of music to perform as well, besides having the name that's going to draw people.
Philippe Quint, yes. Isn't that a great name, Philippe Quint?
I know. Wouldn't you like to name your child Philippe? That'd be a great name.
It is a great name, and although he almost had a heart attack when he was taking his, he thought he was going to take his Stradivarius out of a taxi cab. It was sitting in the back seat, and he went around to unload his luggage, and while he was unloading his luggage, the taxi drove off.
Oh my goodness, $4 million, isn't it?
$4 million Stradivarius, yes, and it took a whole bunch of people in New York City to find it for him, and he rewarded them with a concert. I think that was pretty nice.
Gosh, I think that's fabulous, but he's lucky he got it back if he's in New York City.
Yes, and we're lucky he got it back because he's going to play it for us. He's going to do the Scottish Fantasy by Max Bruch.
So he'll be bringing that violin to Oklahoma City.
We're going to see a $4 million violin.
Wow.
So maybe I shouldn't say that to give people ideas.
Oh, not in Oklahoma City. They'll just be appreciative.
That'd be nice.
Yeah. Tell us about the music.
Well, it's a beautiful piece, the Scottish Fantasy. It is actual Scottish folk tunes, and it's one after the other. And the word fantasy sort of tells it all. They're woven together in this beautiful piece that it immediately appeals to an audience. It gives the soloist a chance to show off a lot of fiddling, as the Scottish would enjoy. So this is a really great piece.
Well, Okies would say the same, wouldn't he?
We love it. We love our fiddling.
Now, we have also the Symphony No. 7.
By Ludwig van Beethoven, yes.
Right.
It has a rhythm in it. I'll do my little impression of the rhythm. It goes da 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 da.
This is almost rap.
Yeah. I played it once. I played it at Quartz Mountain, with the student orchestra.
Yes.
And I was advised that if they had trouble with the rhythm, I should tell them to say "pig, the big pig, the big pig." And they did. I had a young lady come up to me backstage years later, and she said, "I played for you once." And I said, "You did?" And she said, "Pig, the big pig." And I knew it was
You knew
Beethoven.
exactly the moment. Yeah.
Hopefully our audience will not be saying "Pig, the big pig" during Beethoven 7.
Well, no, they watched this if they did.
Someone will come up to me. It is considered one of his very best symphonies, one of the best symphonies ever written.
In fact, one of the most perfect symphonies.
Yes, it's a gorgeous work and very tricky, and audiences will know it. It's just absolutely stunning.
When you're talking about a perfect symphony, though, what are the components that go into making something like that?
Well, it has to be engaging. It has to be proportioned just right. It's like a car or even a model. A beautiful person. You look and you say, boy, that is just perfect. And when you hear this music, the length of each movement, the way Beethoven works his musical materials together, by the time you've heard it, you've heard greatness.
In fact, if my memory's right, when he first conducted this piece in Vienna, Napoleon had that country, under siege for a while, had been occupied, and the folks in Vienna were just ready for a party. And here comes this wonderful piece of music that he's up there conducting himself.
Yes, yeah, it was considered to be, at the time, and even today, one of the absolute top pieces of music. There's a wonderful story where Toscanini, who was obsessed with this symphony, Toscanini once slapped himself across the face after a performance. He was so angry that he hadn't gotten the perfection that he wanted, and he said to his concertmaster, the first violinist, he said, "I'm stupid and you're stupid. Only Beethoven wasn't stupid."
There has to be a degree of compulsion and obsession in these truly magnificent artists and composers.
Yes, yeah, they really did. When you consider that, a novelist may write, 50 books, 60 books, but you rarely find that once you get past, the era of Haydn. Once you get into the Beethoven period, 9 symphonies was the output. That's it. Some composers wrote 4, 2, or 1 symphony. They're very hard to write.
And the folks who did that, in the time when they were writing them and performing them, were they given the same respect that, say, we give some of our musical talent now, our rock stars, our rappers?
Later on, later on in the 19th century, in Haydn's time, for example, Haydn, Mozart, they wore the costumes that showed that they were members of the court. So they were employees. They did not have that stature. Beethoven is the one that broke the mold. Beethoven said, I'm a composer and I will be respected and I'm no one's employee. So it was Beethoven that started that.
And this symphony, for those who attend all kinds of concerts, is really one that you leave feeling good.
Yes, it dances, it sings, and it jumps. From the minute you hear the opening of the symphony until its closing, it's called the apotheosis of the dance. It really is it is a dance work.
And when he comes with this violin to play as part of this performance that night, would you like me to follow him around and make sure that it doesn't get left somewhere?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yes. You mean Philippe Quint, not
Yes.
Beethoven.
No,
Hopefully
Philippe Quint,
Beethoven's
yeah.
not going to show up.
But if he did, I'd come for sure.
We'd follow him, absolutely.
Right. I think you'd have a sold-out performance.
I think so, yes. Hopefully he wouldn't take over from me and try to conduct it himself.
I bet he has that type of personality where he could have, though.
Oh, he would have. He would push me
Yeah.
right off the podium.
Well, for your sake, I think you're safe.
Thank you.
The Oklahoma City Philharmonic takes the stage on Saturday, November 20th at 8 p.m. at the Civic Center Music Hall under the direction of Maestro Joel Levine for this evening of folk dances and celebrations. We hope you'll join the celebration as well and be there. From a violin virtuoso to a mighty pianist, how do you make a grand piano whisper and roar? There's one man who can absolutely do that. Join us in our next segment for all of the details.